joined up by the best of the best of the best ever world. He's ever known before me, there'll be none after me, therefore I am the one and only Jake Kobe, and welcome to Wrestling Made Simple. We got an action-packed week this week. We got the news of the week followed by a review of 2K23 WWE. That's right, we're going to review the new game. Then we have a look at SmackDown and Raw. Then we have the Wrestlemania card as I see it, a celebration of 316 Day. And then we have your trick of the week followed by the battle droid of the week. But what's getting in is Bray Wyatt gone from WWE? Apparently not. There was a story making the rounds over on Twitter, on social media, in the independent wrestling community that Bray Wyatt had left WWE. That is not true. He is actually dealing with a knee injury. Apparently that is what Fightful has reported, and I believe it was WrestlePix or someone like that. They were reporting that. So Bray Wyatt is just injured. Apparently, this brings us into our next story. Is his match at WrestleMania off the card? Apparently not, as the card is still supposed to show Bray Wyatt and Bobby Lashley. I don't know what this means. They are saying that there might be a substitute of LA Knight, but LA Knight might be support for another match in our next story, LA Knight versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. What a week for this story to come out. Of course, it is 316. For those of you who don't know, Austin 316 is one of the most pivotal moments in the Attitude Era of wrestling. And it really changed professional wrestling in itself, making Stone Cold a star. So every year on March 16th, we celebrate Austin 316 Day. But is Austin going to fight LA Knight? That is a match that has been thrown around for WrestleMania 39 as Stone Cold Steve Austin turned down a match with Brock Lesnar. Nobody knows why. If I were to speculate on it, I imagine it's because WrestleMania 20. Enough said. If you don't know what I'm talking about, do not Google it. Do not look it up. Let's just say it is one of the worst moments in WrestleMania history. But that's the news this week, ladies and gentlemen. Is it going to happen? There are rumors that Fightful is reporting about it, but there's not been confirmed. Dave Meltzer has yet to confirm it. Once it is confirmed, maybe I'll add it to my WrestleMania card, but I don't see it happening. Let's move on to a review of WWE 2K23. This game just came out at midnight. I was up all night playing it just to get this review out for it. So 11 hours before I recorded this podcast. 11 hours and then recording the podcast. Yeah, pretty nice. But it came out at midnight and I did play it. I was very amazed by it. It was fun. There's still some glitches in it. You're going to have some of the problems that you did in 2K22 where sometimes you're just things phase through the body instead of being on top, like you're holding an ice pack in one scene, and it's just, instead of being on the body, it's kind of stuck to your hand and going through your fingers. It was a very cool game, different kind of story plots as it's really more of following a male storyline, at least the one I played with The Rock, which is basically you are a indie sensation who is supposed to be a lock for WWE and a lock as a future world champion. You are basically billed as Randy Orton in Legacy, except this time you go too far and get released and have to work your way back to WWE while feuding with upper management, in this case, Shawn Michaels. Very cool to see Shawn Michaels as a heel. The character work and the little kind of Easter eggs are very cool. You get Cole Quinn back, you get Pentagon, El Fantasma, or whatever his name was, El Fango maybe. I can't remember his name right now, but he was in it from WWE 2K22. Cole Quinn again making his appearance from 2K19. And it was just really cool to see all those guys. I also played just a couple matches just to see how the game works itself. It was very cool to play as Cody Rhodes for the first time in WWE. His entrance is awesome, and actually his entrance is locked, so no one else can use it but Cody Rhodes. I played the Wrestlemania stage. The Wrestlemania stage was okay. I know it's not going to be exactly the same, which sucks because actually you have like WrestleMania 37 and WWE 2K22, which is very good, while this one in Dallas is but the moveset works very well. The characters are all so far moving well, but there still has its issues with graphics catching up. You're going to have that with a new game just coming out. There probably will be a couple updates just to fix that, but besides just a couple movement problems and a couple problems with the graphics itself, this is a very enjoyable game. I enjoyed the first part of my playthrough. Maybe next week I'll do another part to this, but if I had to grade the game right now, 8.5 out of 10. Very fun game. It's one that really does suck you in and want to finish it at that moment. But there were a couple problems with, again, the graphics and also the story itself. I didn't feel the characters were redeemable enough to where you wanted to root for them. You're kind of like cast out like Drew McIntyre was to go on to the Independents and then come back to WWE. But even then, you're still kind of an asshole in the ring and kind of treat everybody like an asshole. It just doesn't make sense to me why you would want this guy to be there for you. Even if you make all the moves that a hero would make. But the movesets are very nice. The action in the game is awesome. Whether it's no holds barred, they really added a focus on British style of wrestling, and they had NXT UK in the game. Now I'm sure it was just because this game was made when NXT UK was a thing, but they really focused on British style of wrestling. You had the British wrestling rules of it's a 2 out of 3 falls match, and like British wrestling rules are way too much to get into, but just to give you the short part of it, disqualifications in the match, no matter what, knockout ends the match for a victory for you. It's basically a 2 out of 3 falls match where you can't go to the top rope, and your goal is to knock the other person out. It also focused on Japanese-style wrestling and just a bunch of other things. It was very cool to play this game. I'll give a shout out to WWE and 2K. This game was fun and funny. I mean, they had a couple good jokes in it, and the characters they're building are awesome, but there's still a lot to add, and still a lot that needs to be done before 2K is redeemed for all the shit they put out over the years. You know, I mean, you had Madden, NHL, NBA, WWE 2K20. You have all that shit, and now they're starting to make good games again, but this one was very good. This one was a good game. I enjoyed it, but there's still a lot left for them to do before they are seen as the ultimate sports gaming company again. But I just want to point out, it's a joke that is making the internet wrestling community, that Cody Rhodes appeared in the WWE game before AEW Fight Forever ever even came out. That's a joke that everybody's making. I thought it was funny. I just wanted to repeat it. Not to shit on AEW at all. It was just something I found very, very funny. Again, the game was enjoyable. There are 3 packs. I got the Legends pack, which meant I could play it 3 days early, or 4 days early, and I got to play it at release at midnight, which was definitely something awesome. So it's definitely worth the pre-order nowadays. So the video game was very good, and I have to say I definitely enjoyed playing it. Let's move on to SmackDown. SmackDown kicked off with the Usos arriving in the arena. Jey Uso asked Heyman if Roman Reigns was in the building. Roman then hugged Jey Ricochet was then asked by Caleb Braxton why did he do what he did to Sami Zayn on Raw last week, and Jey Uso said he will explain his actions in the ring later on tonight. We then get the fatal five-way match where the number one contender for the Intercontinental Champion would be crowned, as Drew McIntyre and Sheamus both ended up pinning LA Knight and Xavier Woods at the same time. Fans chanted triple threat as Gunther looked from the stage on. No official announcement was made after the match. It was a great match, so I have to give credit to. They gave this match time. They said that this was going to be the longest match of the night, and it definitely was. We then get Rey Mysterio announces the first inductee into the WWE Hall of Fame. I was completely shocked by this. I had heard no news on the Hall of Fame inductees, and Rey Mysterio to be announced as a Hall of Famer is awesome. Rey Mysterio then came to the ring and was about to cut a promo on why this is such an honor, I'm sure. But the Judgment Day come out, and Dominic said he is not happy with the announcement and called Rey a washed-up has-been. Dominic said he is ashamed to be Rey's son and basically said he is Eddie's son. This led Santos Escobar to come out and Legado de Fantasma, then have a match with Judgment Day. Judgment Day was able to pick up the win. Rhea Ripley laid out Zelina Vega on the outside of the ring, kind of distracting Legado, allowing Judgment Day to pick up the win. Judgment Day then left the ring, allowing Dom once again to have the ring to himself, and said, at the end of the day, I should have been Eddie's son. Ooh, that, again, it was a knife right to the heart, man. Dominic has found himself in this heel mode, and I love it. Woo! We then get SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair asking for a match from Adam Pearce. Adam Pearce would oblige and would give her match. He then gets the Viking Raiders versus Ricochet and Braun Strowman. Viking Raiders were able to pick up the win after Valhalla did some spooky Viking magic on Ricochet that caused them to be distracted, and the Viking Raiders then hit a splash to pick up the win. I don't know what they're doing with it. I don't get Valhalla being like magical. I don't get that. That's stupid to me. We then get announced next week. It will be Drew McIntyre and Sheamus for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania 39. Whoever wins will challenge at WrestleMania. We then get the SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair versus Shotzi in the match. Yeah. Less said about this shit, the better. Yeah. Charlotte won. We then get the Usos coming out for the main event segment. Jey Uso said he did what he did because Roman Reigns is blood and he has no choice, and said Sami Zayn is selfish. He said, Sami, you are blood and you never will be. Jimmy then said the bloodline has one problem left, and it is Cody Rhodes. And who else but Cody Rhodes would come out, and Cody said that the fans want them to fight, and Jimmy then threatens Cody to a fight. Sami Zayn then enters from behind, and you have Cody Rhodes and Sami Zayn fighting off the Usos. Cody and Sami then hit the Usos out of the ring, cut to black. Fun SmackDown. They're really starting to build for Rey and Dominic at WrestleMania, which I really do like. I think this is a good SmackDown, not great, but still fun enough to enjoy. Let's move on to Raw. As Raw kicked off with the Rated Superstar Edge coming out to answer Finn Balor's challenge for WrestleMania 39. He said, Finn, not only do I accept the match, but Finn Balor, Edge, WrestleMania, Hell in a Cell. official. Hell in a Cell match at WrestleMania. I texted all my buddies who watch WWE and said, Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania. Edge versus Finn Balor. You don't know how excited I am. It's been my dream ever since I became a wrestling fan to see a Hell in a Cell match live. I saw it on the whatever it's called. I saw it on the Thunderdome, and then that was kind of cool, but I was so like, oh God, I wish I could just if I could get one live, and then they canceled, then they don't do the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view anymore, and I'm like, fuck. Well, maybe if I'm lucky with WrestleMania one day. And then, because they were originally going to do this at Royal Rumble, and I'm like, I'm close. But then it got postponed to now. I can tell you how happy I am. The only other one I want to see is Elimination Chamber. So maybe one day. It was made official for Hell in a Cell WrestleMania 39, Edge versus Finn Balor. We then get the Judgment Day versus Johnny Gargano and Dexter Lumis. I also want to point out the person pixie, Candice LeRae, was back at ringside. That was awesome to see. I thought she'd be out for a while, but she is back at ringside. Rhea Ripley, unfortunately, later out. Judgment Day picks up the win. I don't know what they're doing with the Garganos and Dexter Lumis. Maybe they'll send them back to NXT because that is the match in NXT Stand and Deliver, which is NXT's WrestleMania weekend show. They have Johnny Gargano versus Grayson Waller. We didn't get a finish from earlier today where Damage Control brutally attacked Trish Stratus. I mean brutally. It was hard to watch. Damage Control beat the shit out of Trish Stratus. I don't know how they're going to convince Trish to join them, which is what everybody's talking about for WrestleMania. A Trish turning heel. Maybe it'll be Lita instead. I don't know. We then get MVP coming out to the ring with Omos, saying Brock Lesnar made a mistake attacking him a couple weeks ago, but the biggest mistake Lesnar could make was accepting Omos' challenge at WrestleMania. Lesnar then came face-to-face with Omos, and I will admit, the picture of those two standing in the ring together, one, invoked the holy shit chant from the crowd. Two, I will admit, that shit was scary as fuck. To see that, oh God, that is a picture. They shook hands, but Nigerian Giant then hit an elbow on Lesnar, threw him out of the ring, and Lesnar just was stunned after what the fuck just happened. But God, that was just, it's a scene. I will admit, this could be a good film, and it could make me more excited for this match at Mania. You think of Cody Rhodes versus LA Knight. Yeah. Cody Rhodes and LA Knight put on one hell of a match. There was no question these guys were going to have a good one. Cody Rhodes was able to pick up the win and then talked about how Paul Heyman told him to stay out of Bloodline business. Cody Rhodes says he doesn't work for them and doesn't work for Mr. Heyman. Cody then said the following to Roman Reigns: I acknowledge you, damn it. You need to acknowledge me. I'm undefeated. The Prince hasn't lost a match since coming back. He said he's waited his whole life for this moment, and he says he will wait no more. We then get a backstage segment with Seth Rollins and The Miz. Baron Corbin offered to be The Miz's co-host at WrestleMania 39, and The Miz said, well, maybe if you can beat Seth Rollins, I'll throw in a good word for you. So, that match was made official for later tonight. I will admit, I did enjoy that match. It was fun. We then get Bronson Reed versus Elias. Squash match. Bronson Reed won it easily. I don't know what their plans are for Bronson Reed. If he's got a match at Mania or not, I don't know. This is the type of guy you put in the Andre Giant Battle Royal and just let him wreck shit and have him win it. We then get Chad Gable looking around for OT backstage, as that is what he's being called by Maxwell Male Models. We then get a backstage segment with Kathy Kelly. There's a lot of backstage segments this week. Well, I guess it always is when they're building up to Mania. Where Kevin Owens said he's perfectly fine with the idea of fighting the bloodline on his own without Cody Rhodes and without Sami Zayn. We then get another backstage segment from earlier today as the Street Profits made fun of Austin Theory for getting roasted by John Cena. But Theory had the ultimate saying of, what are you two doing at WrestleMania? All right, nothing. I thought that was a great line. Austin Theory then had a very good match versus Angelo Dawkins. Angelo Dawkins really showing off his singles competitor ability. Montez Ford showing off his competitive ability inside of the Elimination Chamber. And I really did enjoy this match. Austin Theory was able to pick up the win after locking in the STF on Dawkins. So that was really a fuck you to John Cena. Really enjoyed that. We then get Rey Mysterio coming out thanking the fans for this Hall of Fame induction. Dominic then came out and talked about how Rey was a terrible father. He would actually go back to his 16th birthday. Dominic was promised a new car, and while all his friends drove Mercedes, he showed up with a new BMW. Yeah, that's Dominic. Oh, he got screwed. And then he challenged Rey to a match at WrestleMania 39. Please, God, don't make it about the car. Please just let them fight. And I would love to see this match. It looks fun, but they need a different type of build for it. We think it's Seth Rollins versus Baron Corbin. Great match. Seth Rollins was able to pick up the win. Corbin then tried to attack Rollins before the match. During the match, Rollins threw Corbin over the top rope. Asked Miz, who was on commentary, which is very funny to see. But Seth Rollins would pick up the win, and was announced that Logan Paul will be on Raw next week. Chad Gable then found Otis backstage doing a photo shoot for Maximum Male Models. He was then beckoned by Maxine to come with them, and I can't blame him. I will follow her too. We then get the Raw Women's Champion, Bianca Belair versus Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green put up an okay fight, but Bianca Belair was able to pick up the win. Carmella and Chelsea Green attacked Bianca back after the match, but Asuka came in to make the save. Played a little mind games with Bianca before handing her title back. That was really funny to see. I really like this heel Asuka. I really think they're doing well with it. We then get Solo Sikoa versus Kevin Owens in a street fight. Awesome match. Solo Sikoa would pick up the win after the Usos would attack Owens. No one would come to Owens' aid, though. He asked to be alone, so you know what? He's alone. This is what happens when you say, I'm going to do it alone, man. So, sorry. Not sorry. But that was Raw this week. They're really building up WrestleMania. I'm very excited for it. Let's look at the card as it stands right now. You got Seth Rollins, Logan Paul, basically confirmed. Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns, confirmed. Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte, confirmed. Bianca versus Asuka, confirmed. Gunther versus Drew or Sheamus, confirmed. The Usos versus Sami Zayn and KO, not confirmed, but basically confirmed on the internet. Austin Theory versus John Cena, confirmed. Finn Balor versus Edge in Hell in a Cell, confirmed. Rey Mysterio versus Dominic, the challenge has been laid out. Will it be accepted? Brock Lesnar versus Omos, confirmed. Becky Lynch versus Trish and Lita versus Damage Control, confirmed. Now the matches that have yet to be confirmed: Bobby Lashley versus question mark. Will it be Bray Wyatt? Hopefully. If not, you have good substitutes ready to go. Maybe instead Karrion Kross. And LA Knight versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. Will it happen? I don't know. It could happen, though. It would be nice to see. But that's the WrestleMania card right now. It looks fun. It looks very enjoyable. I'm very excited to see it. Let's move on to WrestleMania 21 inside the Staples Center. attendance of 20,193 people and a buy rate of over 1 million. WrestleMania goes Hollywood from the Staples Center in Los Angeles, California, now the Crypto Center, I believe. It kicked off on the pre-show with Booker T winning a 30-man interpromotional battle royal, wrestling named Chris Masters in a nice 11-minute, 20-second battle royal. It was cool to see Booker T get his WrestleMania moment, but he deserves so much more. You then get Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero, and basically what is kind of the real big start to their Dominic feud, and unfortunately also, one, you would have Eddie Guerrero go from the main event title picture, closing out WrestleMania with Chris Benoit the year before that, to not just opening the show, but having a great match with Rey Mysterio, who was one of his favorite opponents and friends. And this would be Eddie Guerrero's last WrestleMania. He would die later on that year, and that's very hard to look at this WrestleMania for, but you still have to love the performance they put on. Rey Mysterio would pick up the win, as Eddie Guerrero would always be chasing the victory over Rey Mysterio, but it was always just an amazing feud. You would then get the first ever Money in the Bank ladder match, where you would get the classic line from JR, where he would say, "The only way to win, climb the ladder, grab the briefcase," and basically you have a championship match for any time, anywhere in the calendar year. That line would be still replayed on every WWE Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Edge would be the inaugural champion. Apparently this match came into fruition because Chris Jericho with the Edge, Chris Benoit, Shelton Benjamin, Christian, and Kane, and basically went to Vince McMahon and said, these guys are too good to not be on the WrestleMania cards. We need something. They were also going to add RVD, who was supposed to be the original winner for it, and who would then be added next year to the Money in the Bank. Basically, the original plan was for RVD to win it, and it was supposed to be a Miracle in Hollywood match where RVD would win the Money in the Bank and use it to bring back ECW, but they would actually do this next year and allow RVD to win it. Edge would win this and would cash in on John Cena at New Year's Revolution. This is the essential Money in the Bank ladder match. It has to be perfect. The first one has to be awesome. Otherwise, what's the point of doing the second one? You then get The Undertaker versus Randy Orton, and this was actually the first match at WrestleMania where the streak was really a big part of it. You would have Undertaker versus Kane the year before, Undertaker versus Big Show and A-Train, and then you would have Undertaker versus Ric Flair at WrestleMania 18. Now, WrestleMania 18 was the first time Undertaker acknowledged that he was 10-0 by standing on the edge of the ring and just holding up 10 fingers and saying, yep, I'm 10-0. And then you would have it kind of go unnoticed for a little while, and Randy Orton would say, Randy Orton was the first one to say, you are 12-0 at WrestleMania, and I will be the first one to beat you. And this match made Randy Orton a star. He was a former world champion, the youngest world heavyweight champion ever. But he did it as a face, and he was basically supposed to be in the main event slot against Triple H for the World Heavyweight Championship, but it just never worked out that way for Randy Orton. He was always a better heel than a face, at least at that time. He has been able to be a face now, but at that time, he just didn't work out, and they would actually go on to have one of the best feuds of the year between Undertaker and Randy Orton in wrestling altogether. cover The Undertaker. 1, 2, kicks out. Orton would always say this was the moment that made the RKO. So it's cool to see that. Undertaker would then hit a tombstone piledriver as Randy went for his own tombstone piledriver. And Undertaker would hit his own. 1, 2, 3. Beats Randy. Funny enough, they would redo the spot inside Hell in a Cell where Orton would actually hit Undertaker with the tombstone and would actually successfully hit it. Orton said that it took a lot of trust and it was the moment he truly believed himself to be, could be a star, but could also be a great, would love to work with people. And The Undertaker has been credited for making Randy Orton into the star he is today because of this match. We then get Trish Stratus versus Christy Hemme with Lita for the WWE Women's Championship. Trish Stratus would pick up the win in a 4-minute match. It's very sad to look back on this time in wrestling that we have so many stars and people who female wrestlers grew up looking to, how the women's champions grew up looking to, and yet they were never given the time they should have been. They were only given 4 minutes, and Trish Stratus would pick up the win and would retain. We then get Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels in an amazing 27-minute match. Almost damn near stole the show. If it didn't damn near stole the show, it stole the show. Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels, basically the feud was of Kurt Angle saying, I competed with a broken neck and you had to retire because of it. I'm so much better than you because of this. And you would have Shawn Michaels actually tap out to the ankle lock after 27 minutes of false finishes. Everything that could happen did happen in this match. Still a great match, so Kurt Angle would pick up the win. And then you get the worst match of the night, the sumo match. And this is no guy's fault. It was a fun idea, not for WrestleMania. Maybe Backlash. Maybe. Akibono would defeat the Big Show, and for those of you who are asking who Akibono is, he is a former world champion sumo wrestler, retired in 2001, but would come out of retirement to face the Big Show. He was an 11-time champion. That's a hard thing to do. He would become a professional wrestler and wrestle in All Japan Pro Wrestling, but he unfortunately did have to retire in 2017 due to health problems. You would have Akibono actually defeat the Big Show in 1 minute, but the grandeur was there of Akibono and Big Show coming to the ring, the weigh-ins, the bow in front of the circle, the throwing of the rice on the circle, and the Big Show with a Joe Namath handlebar mustache. Very weird to see. It was definitely not the best choice for Big Show for his facial hair. He just had all pipes. It kind of makes me wonder what the Big Show looked like with just a regular mustache. But Akibono would beat the Big Show. And Big Show would... This would be one of the saddest moments for Big Show to also see in that giant sumo diaper. We then get the making of 2 stars who would cement their place, not just in WWE, but in Hollywood and in pop culture. First, you would have John Cena versus JBL for the WWE Championship. An awesome match. JBL would actually come out and rain dollar bills. JBL had tortured Cena, had basically said, you represent this new age of wrestling, I represent real wrestlers. I am a wrestling god. And it would actually be funny, you would see Triple H and Ric Flair confront JBL before their matches. And he says, look, Nate, it's the wrestling god. And they would just keep making fun of him. It was very funny to see. John Cena would pick up the win in an 11-minute match and would actually celebrate in the crowd and almost get the title snatched out of his hands. And he pulls it away and realizes, oh shit, this is the WWE Championship. I better not let it get stolen. At WrestleMania 25, he would actually trust fans enough to hold it, but I understand a new guy not wanting the title to get stolen. JBL would destroy his U.S. Spinner title, but after he won the title, JBL would steal the title back from John Cena, and John Cena would basically say that title doesn't mean anything anymore. I want to introduce you to the new WWE title, and would unveil the Spinner belt. So the Spinner belt would come from this, in my opinion, the worst title design ever. We then get Triple H versus Dave Bautista in the World Heavyweight Championship match. Dave Bautista winning the Royal Rumble after last eliminating John Cena. I have covered that Royal Rumble. Go ahead and watch it. The 2005 Royal Rumble. Go ahead and listen to it. It is a fun one. But Batista and Triple H worked way better than Randy Orton and Triple H because Batista was a believable babyface. You would have the more build of Batista becoming a face, coming from a heel, and you would then have Triple H try to convince Batista to go to SmackDown and challenge for the WWE Championship. By the way, it would become the WWE Championship after this, no longer the WWF title. Triple H would finally poke Batista a little too much, and Batista would choose Raw and would choose the world title and would go after Triple H, having an amazing match. He would hit the spine busters these guys would hit each other, really shook the ring. Triple H getting busted open with the blood pouring down his face, and Batista finally hitting the Batista bomb, ending the reign of terror. Triple H finally slain, and a new champion is made, and a new hero is made for WWE, John Cena and Batista, who would go on to, again, not just become WWE stars, but have now gone on to film and basically made their way into Hollywood to become pop. And it's funny to say pop icons, but you know what I mean. They are Hollywood icons now. They're actors, superstar actors. So it's very cool to see that. Whew. I could use a drink. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the drink of the week. This drink is a classic rum drink, Cuba Libre. So you're going to take 2 ounces of white rum, 4 ounces of cola, 1/3 ounce of lime juice, and a lime wedge. Add ice cubes to a highball glass, followed by the rum, top with the Coca-Cola. Squeeze the lime, drop the wedge into the glass. As a garnish, please drink responsibly. Do not drink and drive, and do not drink if you are to 21 in the United States. Do not overconsume on alcohol. And now, a reading from the Book of Austin, Psalm 3:16. Austin 3:16 says, "We just whip your ass." A reading from the Book of Rules, the Book of Austin, Psalm 3:16. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the Bowjoy of the Week. I made reference to who I think was the Bowjoy of the Week earlier. It's very clear who I think it is. It is Shotzi. Shotzi, since being called up to the main roster, has floundered. There has been no reason for her to be there. She is way better in NXT. As the host of, you get like NXT Halloween Havoc. She's a great wrestler, don't get me wrong, but I like her as more of a host, as the one who's controlling everything. If they want to make her like the permanent GM of NXT or Raw or SmackDown, I can easily see that happening and working for her. But in the main roster, maybe she needs to move over to Raw or being sent down to NXT. It's just not working for her. So because of that, unfortunately, Shotzi, I don't want to give it to you, but you are the Bowjoy of the Week. Congratulations.
Uh-oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening. We are on the road to WrestleMania. Next week will either be a very special week or a review of WrestleMania 31. I'll let you know in the coming days.